Ooh. So I think we are live. I think that is us live. I think it is. I think we are successfully, we have successfully made liftoff with StreamYards. But anyways, we're back. I'm back on YouTube. I think the last time I've actually done any football related content on my YouTube channel was about this time last year with an end of season review. I think that was pretty much that and a couple of other transfer story videos. Aside from that, I've not been on my YouTube, but have been streaming relatively recently on Twitch. But I thought, yeah, it's about time. Do bring the content back home to YouTube with all the football related chat, because that's probably going to be the better performing platform, to be absolutely honest, and probably the better outreach as well. But yeah, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back indeed. It's been a long time and plenty has happened. Plenty has happened. And judging by what the stream title says, losing targets left, right, and centre, it definitely feels that way at the moment, being a United fan. The sorry state of affairs that our club is undergoing at the moment, with all the takeover business and all of the transfer talks and all the players we get linked to, and all how we're flirting with all of these different targets, different names, a new name every single day. And honestly, I think every single player at every single club in the whole world has probably been linked to this club at least once. So let's be honest, it's a bit of a sham, bit of a sham, bit of a shambles, bit of a waste of time going through all sorts of transfer news left, right, and centre for Man United, considering probably 99.999% of it is absolute bogus. So I think it's just a harsh reality of being a United fan at the moment. But nonetheless, losing targets left, right, and centre, it feels like the players that we are heavily linked to are either we are losing them out to either other clubs coming in for them, or just simply being priced out of moves. And most noteworthy names will be Kim Min Jae, losing him out to Bayern Munich, even though despite he has got this massively cut price release clause available in July, and also the whole sort of Harry Kane transfer saga that got put to bed quite early on with the pricing that Daniel Levy was asking for. Bit of a mess there. But also the Mason Mount stories with the bids going in there, their initial bid being rejected, different fees, which fair plays to United putting in a bid that they thought was reasonable, that they thought was realistic for the player. And it's just a case that Chelsea again overpricing, overvaluing what Mason Mount actually is. We've also had Rasmus Højlund, who looked like probably a realistic striker signing until Atalanta pulled the plug somewhat on that and basically said, well, where you probably thought you're going to get him for about just sub half 50 million, we're actually going to put that way up to about 100 million now. So if you want this player, you're going to have to break your bank. And it feels like a lot of targets we're getting, the club realizes that there's concrete interest, and then the pricing just straight up into the stratosphere. And it's kind of frustrating to bear witness to, but it's also kind of, we sowed the seeds of our own destruction back in the days of Edward Ward and just all the other incompetent negotiating that we have done previously, and how we've overpaid criminally beforehand I think it's still just coming back to bite us a little bit. But on top of that, I just think also the inflated market doesn't really help things either. I know with the Declan Rice valuation, I think is over the top. I think Caicedo valuation is over the top. But that's the thing. I think with the clubs at this level, if you want a player, go get the player. Just pay the money. Just get it over the line. Because at the end of the day, if you start becoming a more successful club and a respected club, most importantly, a respected club, because Man United's board negotiating has been, significantly proven to be a bit of a joke from, previous press releases, and just on the basic reputation that our board seems to have in the footballing world. I know a lot of other clubs are somewhat in the same boat at the moment, but for Manchester United, it's a bit of an unforgivable element, an unforgivable feat. But above all else, got a few hope in hells as well. I mean, we went after Victor Osimhen. That that price went skyrocketing. 130 million apparently, allegedly in euros. That's the latest proposed fee, and apparently rumor has it that we're going back in for Victor Osimhen because why not? Rasmus Højlund has been valued at 100 million, so I mean it's probably Victor Osimhen's probably been a more realistic value compared to what Atalanta have valued Højlund at, but that's neither here nor there. I don't really know sort of how these overpricings compare as to what's realistic, what isn't, because both prices are stupidly inflated. Being linked with other strikers, I mean, Ollie Watkins, I mean, Jesus Christ, God Lord, no. God Lord, no. Don't let this happen. Please don't. Just Ollie Watkins, please stay away. Like how Arsenal fans are praying, some Arsenal fans, by the way, some Arsenal fans are hoping and praying Kai Havertz stay away. Stay away. We don't know what you are. We don't know what kind of a player you are. And we're paying massive amounts of money for you, which we don't think is worth it. So for us, it's Ollie Watkins. I know we need a striker. We desperately need two strikers, with Anthony Martial potentially leaving and most likely going to leave. But judging by the way that selling process goes with some of our players, I mean, last season I believed in the end of season review that I backed up with what Ralf Rangnick said about selling 10, buying 10. We sold 1 and loaned the rest. So essentially, we've still got to sell 10 plus extras now. Like, sell 10 plus extras, it feels like. And, we've not even really started by pushing people out the door. I know De Gea is probably the closest to leaving. Martial apparently has come out saying, well, Martial's most likely going to be put up for sale, that he's going to be sold. But to be honest with you, I don't really know exactly how we're going to be selling Martial unless it is for a massively cut price, because his current contract is extortionate for the sort of level that Martial is at the moment. So again, we sow the seeds of our own destruction. Just another case of that, to be completely honest. It is a bit of a mess, just a complete mess, with the status of our incomings and the status of our outgoings, and it's just there's so much that needs to be fixed, and that's why for us United supporters, we are desperate for this takeover to get wrapped up. Just bring in Qatar, get it wrapped up, just get it all done and out the way so that everyone can really just focus on what is the transfer window and player acquisitions, and really just putting this board under the microscope, because that's one thing that I think is getting a little bit looked over at the moment, is this board with this massive sale process going on. Don't be too surprised, I'd say, if we see this board almost deliberately underperform, because they're just like, well, we've got such a massive summer to do. We've got such a huge summer, one of the biggest summers, in the history of the club. Last summer was supposed to be the biggest summer in history, but we left it so late and it was seriously underwhelming. Should have sold 10, should have bought 10. As simple as that, but we didn't. So it was a bit of a mess, just a complete shambolic, just a pile of trash, just a pile of hot mess. So this summer, again, just more of the same compared to last summer. But we've got the same board from last summer, and to be quite frankly honest, I'm not looking forward to potentially seeing Richard Arnold and John Murtough going for holidays again. Like they went for holidays over to Barcelona, chilled out there, had wined and dined with some of Catalonia's finest. But seriously, we can't have any more of the same this summer. Like I want to see if Richard Arnold and John Murtough are going anywhere this summer, I want to see them on the plane back, either same day or the very next day, saying, yeah, talks went well, business is going and we'll have a deal done and over the line within the next week to 2 weeks, easily. And that's the sort of business we want to see. That's the sort of traveling we want to see you guys doing. But for some reason, it's at any given turn, any given excuse, essentially, to underperform and not do your job to the level you should be doing it is basically what's staring us in the face right now. Is what's staring us in the face. As for a few other names that we've allegedly been linked with in this transfer window so far, we've had Scalvini, Giorgio Scalvini, apparently a defender / defensive midfielder from Atalanta, another Atalanta player. God only knows, because there's no rumoured fees for the player whatsoever. Not by what I'm seeing on this page. Maybe there is a fee somewhere, but so far it's nothing's been confirmed with anything to do with this player. To be honest, I do not know anything about this player. Never heard of him before. Another player that we've been linked to today, and a few times before already, is Robin Koch. What a load of cock that is. What a load of German cock that is. Leeds United centre-back. Part of one of the worst defences in the Premier League, or worst performing defences in the Premier League. And we're looking at Robin Koch. I would much rather sign Mark Guéhi from Crystal Palace as another name that's been mentioned here, but more so, I'd much rather Jurrien Timber. And to be quite frankly honest with you, it's probably going to go that way. It's probably going to go in the way of having to go get Jurrien Timber. We'll probably have to do that. We probably have to do that, because every other centre-back, God knows, every other centre-back we're going to get priced out of. And we definitely know that we can't go into bidding wars with Bayern Munich over Kim Min-jae with the release clause there. So it's just more the case that if we actually put the project down on the table, because that's what's apparently decided this Kim Min-jae transfer saga. That's apparently what's decided it. Is literally Bayern came forth with the intention to spend on that release clause, but more importantly, they put the project down and say, well, look, this is what you're going to have if you come play for us in Bayern. And straight away the player looks at that and gone, well, I've heard all the talk about Man United coming in for me, but this project looks really good. This project convinces me. So with the fact that the release clause is there, is not anything to do with us being outbid. It's just the club actually who are good at doing transfer business. They're actually going out of their way to sell the project, which apparently Man United haven't done. So what's the point of being linked or interested in Kim Min-jae? What's the point in that? If you're just going to then have Bayern walk into the room, sit down, pop open a can of 7-Up or something, as that seems to be the trending drink with Man United at the moment. Just pop open a can of 7-Up. It's just like, don't mind me, just won't complain in the Champions League and Bundesliga and win the league every year. You get this wage, it's pretty nifty life over here in Bavaria. And Kim Min-jae's just like, yeah, give me some of that. And the best part about it, I don't know if Kim Min-jae does drink beer. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But you get a bloody good Oktoberfest. Yeah, bloody good Oktoberfest in Bayern. Well, in Germany, just all over the country. Massive Oktoberfest, just a fat, massive, 10-pint size glass of beer, and just chug that. So that's always a plus sign for. I'll tell you what, if Jack Grealish gets linked to a move to Germany, I'll tell you what, he's on the first flight. Like, forget signing contracts or anything. He's on the first flight. Considering how much alcohol that guy likes to drink, he is gone the second that Bayern. He would read the tabloids. He would see the name Bayern Munich in there or a German club. You might as well just put in Bielefeld. Was it Bielefeld or Blayfield? Some random German club. I can't remember if they're first or second division. I'm pretty sure they were first division. They might still be, but I'm pretty sure that any German club that comes up, Jack Grealish is on the first plane over. Get some of that sweet Oktoberfest, baby. I suppose there's another name here for the striker situation that Man United are potentially looking at. Is we've been linked to him before, but Gonçalo Ramos from Benfica, rumoured fee about 80 million euros, which is about the asking price so far, but having our luck, we'll start getting solid links to him, and straight away, just like that, bang. You know, that 80 million that you probably saw, yeah about that. It's we've kind of forgot to stick the 1 in front of the 8, so it's actually 180 million. You know, look at all those zeros right there. Yeah, you sure you can afford that? No, you sure you can afford that? Absolutely not. Like, get out of here with that. But we're gonna have to spend big on someone. Might not even be the strikers we spend big on. Maybe it's the goalkeepers, because with David De Gea being linked with moves away and his future not being certain, we're probably going to have to go look for another goalkeeper. And so far, what I've seen, the most interested name that we seem to be focused on at the moment is Onana. Andre Onana for Inter Milan. Showcased on the stage, grandest stage of club football, in the Champions League final against Manchester City. Pulled off a few good saves, and the foot fetish people are absolutely losing their ever-loving minds about his ability with the ball at his feet. So, for them, it's a win-win. I don't know if that's many people's kinks with the feet, foot fetish. I mean, probably just absolutely losing it over the entire sport in its entirety, with all the foot action going on. So you've got 22 people on one pitch at the same time with all that foot action. God, you're just losing your mind. But Andre Onana seems to be the most likely name that we're going to have genuine interest in, putting bids on the table for, and trying to encourage deals to happen. So, looking forward to seeing what happens with that, because, I mean, I'm not against Onana coming to this club. I think he is a great goalkeeper. From his time at Ajax, did a brilliant job there. Obviously, it's not very good to know that he's had this doping scandal where he ended up banned for a year. Losing a year out in your career in any position, can be a massive, massive blow. But to be fair to him, fair plays to him, to go from being Ajax's first team goalkeeper, losing a year in your career, not because of an injury or anything at all, but just because, just because of a scandal. I mean, sure, you shouldn't be doing doping. You shouldn't be doing doping. You shouldn't be taking supplements that are illegal or banned from sport. You shouldn't be doing anything like that. But the fact that he's come back after a year out and started performing for Inter Milan at the highest level, and most importantly, doing it on the Champions League final stage, is that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty impressive feat. But yeah, most likely goalkeeper that we're most likely going to sign. And also another thing that I've seen as well is apparently, allegedly, I don't know how legit this is, but Dean Henderson to Nottingham Forest seems to be being stalled by David De Gea situation. So I think Nottingham Forest are waiting for us to also resolve this David De Gea issue um, before they can sort of like figure things out with Dean Henderson. But yeah, he's also another goalkeeper, another player. Forget goalkeepers, just players, just another player that needs to go. Just overstayed your welcome. You know, the whole Dean Henderson versus David De Gea thing. You know, that had its scandalous takes as well. But at the end of the day, you know, Dean Henderson's got to go. David Dea's got to go. Both of them. You know, it's probably about time. It's about right. You know, both of you time to go. But yeah, Andre Onana, that's you, my friend, and also another goalkeeper linked with this Mike Maignan. Apparently, there's an alleged rumored fee about 60 million euros. I don't know the legitimacy of that. I know I've seen him be mentioned in a potential targets list. Other goalkeepers, such as Diogo Costa, was also another sought after name. David Raya as well, another goalkeeper. So, I mean, there's all sorts of names that we're getting linked with. I think Onana, as it stands, is probably the most likely name that we're going to go towards as it stands. It might change. You might end up going a week later, 2 weeks later, and just suddenly turns around and Diogo Costa's now your number one target. You might get that. You just don't know. Just, you know, crazy stuff happens in a transfer window, and I mean, it's probably just wishful thinking for me because, you know, it's Manchester United. We don't really get you know, crazy stuff out of the blue as a United fan. You see a name get linked, and it's just like, well, if that target's going to sign for us, he's going to sign for us in about 2 months' time. So stick that on your calendars and try and keep up with that if you dare. Being linked to Frankie de Jong this summer as well. Again, honestly, cannot be asked with Frankie de Jong. Do not care anymore about this. Adrien Rabiot linked to us potentially on a free. I think would that be a free transfer? The Adrien Rabiot. I can't remember if it would, but even so, with us desperately needing another midfielder, I think it's more important that we have another sort of creative box-to-box player that improves on the quality of Fred or just adds depth, so we don't have to worry about needing Donny van de Beek to be fit for like longer. It's frustrating because Donny van de Beek hasn't actually been, you know, really bad. It hasn't been really bad. I just think he's been plagued by, you know, bad injuries, but most importantly, his last injury that he's had, or the one that he's basically come back from or coming back from, was not even a self-inflicted injury. It was literally just a god-awful challenge that has put him out for months and months and months on end. So it's not really even his fault that he's been out for this long. But, you know, you can't really rely, even if it is the case that players are inflicting those kinds of injuries. But then again, that happens in football. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. But, you know, Donny van de Beek, he's not really played enough football to warrant him staying at the club. So I think it's just, yeah, time for a change of scenery for him. I think Fred we need to get rid of because it's just too inconsistent, not at the right level for him to, like, it's frustrating because when he plays well, he plays really well, really well. But then you'll get probably like another sort of string of about 4 or 5 games where he's absolutely invisible, just nothing to offer, and it's just so annoying. Yeah, really annoying. So yeah, Adrien Rabiot, a potential name that we're linked with. To be quite frankly honest, I don't rate Adrien Rabiot that highly, but is he better than what we have? Probably is better than what we have. So I mean, I mean, it's like the most unwelcome, the welcome for someone like Adrian Rabiot, because it's like spending the whole summer where it's like we were linked to Rabiot, but then we've got Casemiro, and then everyone was spending just the whole season just thanking Rabiot's mother, and I was like, what is this? Why are we thanking someone's mother to stopping another player from joining this club? All the while, we still have Scott McTominay and Fred still playing for this club. It's just madness. It is madness. Crazy, crazy settings. Linked with Dusan Vlahovic. Honestly, don't really know what's happening with Dusan Vlahovic whatsoever. Whatever's going on there, I'm not really up to date with that, not really following whatever it is that's going on that front. Neymar as well, another player being linked, but that's just speculative stuff. It's probably just Qatari hype, to be honest with you. I think the Neymar and Mbappe is just Qatari hype, to be honest. Sadly, it's Qatari hype, but who knows? Maybe we get Qatar's, wrap up a deal and it's surprisingly super quick. Maybe it is super quick. Maybe it is that we get like 2-3 weeks from now, all of a sudden, just everything's wrapped up. It's all completed. All the paperwork signed off. We're officially owned by Sheikh Jassim and the 9-2 Foundation. Right? What's to say that doesn't happen? Crazy things have happened. Crazier things have happened. So who's to say that doesn't happen? Maybe that does. We just don't know. We just don't know. Knowing the Glazers, they'll want to drag it out, but you just don't know. No one knows. It's not going to be like the Chelsea sale process, because that was different circumstances, different step by step progression to that sale process. So it's going to be different format, different layout, and different pretty much in every aspect. Links with Moussa Diaby, don't really know much about that as well. Jeremy Frimpong, I know that name's basically popped up, disappeared, popped up again, disappeared, popped up again, because the conversation, are we selling Wan-Bissaka? Are we selling Diogo Dalot? Which one's going? So Diogo Dalot signed a new contract, but Wan-Bissaka was originally on the sale list, but is you might as well call him the return of Christ. On the third day he rose from the tomb, he rose from the grave, and performed miracles, and it was an amazing miracle in and of itself. It's just how it seems to be with some players in football. Just seems completely in the gutter, just down and out. I'm trying to think of another name that had some similar resurgence, where was it Rudiger? I think it was Rudiger at Chelsea. Just looked like he was set to leave, and then had this crazy resurgence. I can't remember who it was. Was it Antonio Conte? But crazy resurgence, and then immediately becomes one of the best centre backs in the world and gets a move to Real Madrid. I mean, this stuff happens. What if Wan-Bissaka has just the most insane season next season, that Real Madrid come in for him? What happened? I mean, what's to say that doesn't happen? What's to say it doesn't happen? It's all speculative. It's all wishful thinking. But ifs, buts, maybes. We've seen stranger things happen. We've seen stranger things happen all the time. A couple of other names that I have seen pop up. Axel Disasi. There was another name for a bloke who plays for Nice. If I can find him. If he is here. But is he here? Or am I just seeing things? I think I might just be seeing things. I'm pretty sure there was a name from Nice. But I've got to be honest again. I keep saying I've got to be honest. I keep saying that. It's my trademark. It's my trademark line. Just so you can't have any mistake about my opinions. Can't have any mistake. So it's like I'm saying the term so much. It's almost as though you think I'm trying to cover up for something. Trying to cover up for the lack of credibility, in my opinions. Stuff like this happens all the time. Axel Disasi from Monaco, defender. Don't really know anything about him. No, absolutely nothing. It comes out a lot more. If we do get a lot more information, then it's something I will look into. I will delve into it. I will do a bit of digging, a bit of deep diving, just seeing what is to be said about the player. Just a bit of a background check, just so we know a little bit more of what we're dining on. A little bit more about this, the beef cuts of this of the cow. See what kind of a steak it is. If it's a tough chew, if it's a tender chew, if it's cooked well done, or if it's still mooing. Don't know. Just don't know. We have to see. Have to see if the stories further progress, if we see more information be released, and if it does get released, then happy days. I can do a bit of digging into it. But if it's just paper talk, and it's just another fancy sounding name to stick on the endlessly growing list of players we're linked to, then there's not really too much, worth needing to go talk about someone that's never going to sign for your club. Knowing that I've just said that, you probably sign tomorrow, and I'll look a right fool. But yeah, Mason Mount, I guess I should say a little something for Mason Mount. Attacking midfielder. Essentially, the player that you'd rotate with someone like a Bruno Fernandes. Or Bruno Fernandes, however you want to pronounce it, because Portuguese names. We seem to be finding out that every single name we've ever known about Portuguese players is being pronounced wrong, and we all look complete mugs and idiots. So, Bruno Fernandes, how about that? So, essentially, he's going to be the rotation. I'd assume the rotation. I'm hearing people talking about him playing with Casemiro, and I'm thinking, but don't we want to sign someone else to play that? Because if it was up to me, I'd sign Lavia, or Caicedo, whoever. I'll probably say Lavia. Sign Lavia as your Casemiro backup, and sign another box-to-box player, a decent player to cover or to play alongside your Casemiros and your Lavias. And then you'll have your Mason Mounts as your depth for Bruno Fernandes, because the guy plays so much football, and it's like all it takes is for him to get a hefty injury before you'd see the team completely lose a major element in possession. Because Bruno Fernandes, as much as he's frustrating to watch, the stats he posts are ridiculous. And honestly, when you watch him for 90 minutes, it's like, well, how the hell it is that you get those sorts of stats? Honestly, it's like a not so talented player playing in a not so talented league, but because these sort of specialties allows him to just absolutely farm stats, goals, assists, whatever, you name it. I know a lot of Bruno Fernandes's goals come from bounty spot, but the amount of assists that the guy gets as well, especially in a team during a season where we haven't scored that many goals, So imagine the stats when you've got a proper goal scorer and your wingers are contributing quite handsomely. So yeah, Mason Mount, again, pricing 40 million is more than realistic for a player like Mason Mount, but for some reason Chelsea are just throwing up massively inflated figures. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but whatever floats Chelsea's boat, I guess. I think it's just more that if you can command an expensive fee, someone somewhere will probably pay it, because if you know that there's a club desperate, right? There's a club desperate, they want a player, and you know that you've got that type of player. It probably comes from a board that does their market research and sees the clubs at the highest level and the sort of players that they want, the sort of players that they need, and the club can pretty much play this 4D chess where they say, well, this club needs a player, that club needs this player, and we've got both of them. So we want to buy players as well. Well, if you want this player, you're going to have to pay the money we price him at. It's just one of those things. I think it's just one of those things. It's annoying. It's never nice. It's frustrating, and you're probably even more annoyed at Todd Boehly than you were previously. Somehow you found a way to be even more annoyed at Todd Boehly, even though he's technically taken Chelsea back by about 2-3 years. To be fair, though, they might actually be pretty decent next season, depending on how much they fixed up the squad over the summer, because I know that there's going to be a lot of players going out the door, ideally. A lot of players going out the door, but I don't really know. It depends, because if they bring in tons and tons of players again, it's not really fixing the problems that were there before, because you've still got the same massively bloated squad. So you've actually got for every player you buy, you're selling 2 to 3. For every player you buy, you're selling 2 to 3. We already know Kante's gone and out the door. So, I mean, it's crazy to think about, because Kante's linked with a move away. Kovacic is linked with Manchester City, and Mason Mount's been linked with a move away, and also Kai Havertz. I don't even really know why Kai Havertz has not even been like it. If you go back to looking at Kai Havertz in his most effective stage in his career, was probably, it wasn't probably, it actually was when he was at Bayer Leverkusen, and he was playing essentially as the number 8/10. But at Chelsea, he's been playing as this sort of false 9 / out and out striker, and sometimes he drops into midfield. But he's so, I don't think I've seen a slight. He's well up there in the top 5, top 10 most mismanaged players I've ever seen. Like, honestly, I just don't know what to make of someone like Kai Havertz. So it makes, from my perspective, Arsenal looking at Kai Havertz makes me even more confused. Maybe it's the versatility. Ding, 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 ding. Versatility, versatile. Buzzwords. We'd love to see. You love to see it. You love to hear it. Versatility. Edu has just absolutely painted his walls white just because you could describe Kai Havertz as versatile. There you go. Don't need to say anything else on that matter. What happens in the Edu household stays in the Edu household. As for anyone else we've been linked with, I don't know why we've got an Antoine Griezmann appearing in this list. I have not heard anything, any rumours, no paper talk, nothing about an Antoine Griezmann being linked. I might have my head buried slightly under the sand, but I've not heard anything. Not even a Scooby, not a sliver of talk about Antoine Griezmann. But yeah, that's essentially the rumours that have happened today. Apparently only 5 transfer stories, even though it feels like there's a whole heck of a lot more. Feels like there's way more going on. I think it's just because there's more sell talk as well. But yeah, Robin Koch, Ollie Watkins, Mason Mount, Scalvini as well, and Gonçalo Ramos. Those five names. Can't say much about Scalvini. You know how I feel about Mason Mount. I think if we're getting Mason Mount, he's going to be overpriced. Whatever it is we pay for him, massively overpriced. But I hope it all works out. I hope it works out well. Because to be fair, I do like the idea of having a little bit of extra depth with a bit of quality in attack. But I do find Mason Mount to be another one of those players where I just don't think he has enough of a technical ability to warrant Manchester United being a serious threat when you say, for instance, you sub Fernandez off and you bring Mason Mount on, I don't think there's many teams at the highest level that are going to be worried about that. So then again, that's just me. I know there's quite a few people that massively, massively rate Mason Mount. I'm not one of them. That's just me. I have to see what. Maybe my mind changes. Maybe my mind changes when if we do go in deep with Mason Mount, if we do end up putting the bid on the table and getting a bid accepted, the bid might put me off the player as well. The bid valuation, if it's something like a stupid 80, 90 million, I know it's probably not going to get that high or anywhere near that high, but if it was something like that, it might actually impact how I feel about the player coming to the club. But that is just more the case of Man United's negotiations team. Do not let us down, even though you've got absolutely every single credit in the bank to verify our feelings to believe that you will cock it up in some way. Robin Koch, hope that doesn't happen. I don't really rate him at all. Really don't hope. Really hope it doesn't happen. Same thing with Ollie Watkins. Two outlandish signings that I don't rate. We shouldn't be making those. Like Kai Havertz to Arsenal, just shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening. Scalvini, don't know anything about him. No offense to the guy, probably is a great guy. Probably is a great footballer. I think he's probably a young player, youth prospect. To be fair, we got Amad Diallo from Atalanta. Maybe he's just another one of those sorts of players. So again, just have to see how it goes. Gonçalo Ramos, a player that I actually like the sound of. I do like the sound of. Whether it might be another sort of Darwin Núñez type player. God, an itchy nose. Might be another one of those Darwin Núñez players. I've not watched enough of him to really I've seen him play, and pretty direct, but I've not seen enough of him to give the ITK knowledge, to draw this special information out of my brain. Don't know enough about him. I haven't watched enough of him to make that sort of a judgment. But yeah, I think that pretty much concludes in terms of Transfer Watch. If anything, today it somewhat draws that to a close. But yeah, just as a little summarization of the stream, in relation to the stream title, losing transfer target, senior left, right, and centre. Honestly, it's probably going to be a little bit more of the same with same old with like what we had last summer. But the board negotiations are slow as anything, and fingers crossed that John Murtough and Richard Arnold can pull the finger out and actually do some quick deals and do deals early. We don't want none of the same nonsense as last summer, where everything was just slow, was clogged up and just backlogging and staying on a transfer target that just went on forever and ever and ever, lost all of its hype, and then ended up not happening whatsoever. So, we just need action. We need action fast, and we need to start doing business now, because the transfer window is open. If you can sell a player now, sell him now. If you can sell him tomorrow, sell him tomorrow. Don't act on ifs, buts, and maybes. Deal in absolutes, deal in certainties, and get the business done. Sign some players, sell some players, 10 out, 10 in, or as close to that as you can possibly get. We've got a lot of loan players to offload as well, a lot of loan deals that are expiring, and a lot of deadwood that we still got to get rid of, that we should have gotten rid of last season, but we didn't. So, put the sell talk to the side for a second and just remember that with the board, right? They had somewhat of an excuse, which I don't really take any excuses with this board, because it's been an absolute god awful board for the longest time. But this summer, like last summer, they were saying, well, look, there's a lot changing, there's a lot going on. Got new board, new setup, new transfer approach, and all of that. This summer, I swear to God, we've seen the media. I know it's a genuine concern to the club with the takeover talk happening, and in terms of what funds you have available. But if someone says anywhere in the club, regardless of what happens with this takeover, you've got 120 million. There's 120 million pounds right there that you can spend tomorrow. So spend it and do something now, even if you get to August and you've maxed out the amount you can spend and say, well, look, we can't sign anymore because we haven't got any more money left. Everyone can say, I can believe that. I can believe you, because we have got the sell thing going on in the background. And we did see earlier in the season, earlier in the summer, sorry, I didn't mean to say season, I meant to say summer. We did see earlier in the summer that we had X amount to spend, and we can see that you've actually spent that amount plus the extras that you've garnered from sales. And if you sold the right players, then even better, much better. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to conclude the stream. Hope everything's gone well. For anyone who does watch this on playback, because I don't think we've had anyone tune in during the live stream. I'd be wrong. Might be the figures, my live viewers figures not showing me anything yet. But if anyone has dropped by, appreciate any and all support. If you do like, if you do watch this video, if you like it on playback, do drop the like and do subscribe. And fingers crossed everything goes well for us in the summer transfer window. But again, we're sort of living on a prayer at the moment. Bon Jovi, living on a prayer. It's a Bon Jovi summer. Bon Jovi kind of summer for us, but we have to see how. We have to. Oh, Jesus Christ! Seeing on Instagram that some tipping, some lucky tipping things just followed me on my Instagram account. But yeah, Jesus Christ, stay of that. But anyways, I'm gonna love you, leave you, and I'm going to go get ready for bed because it's somewhat late-ish and it's boiling hot and I am tired. I'm very tired. So I'm going to go get me some rest. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. Do drop a like and a subscription if you'd like to see more content. And do leave your thoughts on the enormity that is the summer transfer window. And let me know your thoughts and feelings on players we're linked to. Or if there is anything in the next stream, which I'll probably try and do tomorrow, do let me know. Or if there's a talking point that you'd like me to, or a player that you want me to go in depth with, want me to look up on, do leave them in the comments. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. And that's it. Goodbye for me. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.